Greetings, Star Wars fans. This is Swtor Gaming, and I'm about to go watch episode 14, The Tragedy. I don't know what you guys think of that title, but I'm pretty sure it means nothing good. And if if my last video, my hypothesis, anything, I might have gotten something right. Even that also I mentioned in the previous video for the review of episode 13. So if you guys want to know what I got right, hey, my predictions, stay tuned.
This is the way.
Greetings, citizens of the galaxy. Welcome to Swtor Gaming.
Welcome.
I believe the Force has guided you to me.
Who we truly are is defined by our actions.
Alright, I'm back, and I'm gonna give you my thoughts on it. It's gonna be off the top of my head. I have no script, but I'm just constantly rewatching it. I'm reviewing it now as I speak. And it was a very, very good episode. First of all, this is episode or chapter 14, The Tragedy, directed by Robert Rodriguez. And it's a lot of action, very good storytelling. It does cuts. It's like it's a no bullshit episode. Cuts to the chase, gives you exactly what you want. And so it starts off in the beginning. The Mando and Din Djarin and Grogu are playing kind of catch with that little knob from his, I guess, his break from the Razor Crest. And he's asking Grogu to pull it from his hand using the Force. And he's super excited about the fact that Grogu's able to do it. And he's like, look, we're going to Tython, and I'm going to find you a Jedi so I can train you. Because, I can. You're too powerful for me to train. You need to be with your own kind. But you got to go with them if they want to take you, you understand? And you get a lot of kind of like a side from him. Like, he kind of doesn't want to be separated, so he's really attached to the Mandalorian, Din Djarin, and it's something that Ahsoka actually said their bond is very strong. Both, the bond from a child, Grogu, baby Grogu, to the Mandalorian Din Djarin. After that, they arrive on Tython. No sooner than they arrive, in the air, just in the atmosphere, do they see the meeting point, and they realize they're not going to be able to bring the Razor Crest right down on it because the air is too small to land. So then puts down the Razor Crest, we don't even see that much, and automatically see him using the jetpack to reach the stone. I guess signaling stone. He sits on it, and he's like a real good parent. It's kind of funny. He's trying to help the child figure this out. It's like how do you activate? Maybe there's a switch. Child instinctively touches something, and all of a sudden, this blue force field appears. Now you see this Jedi script, these Jedi runes appear all around, and they light up, which is very interesting because the last time I saw these runes were in Star Wars: The Old Republic when we got the Osis expansion, the previous expansion where it was the Onslaught, where we returned to the Jedi planet Osis, and there's a secret quest that gets you tuning in the vein like the Easter egg of Odan when you find Odan tree, and it's by touching Jedi runes all over Osis, which have the same script. So, like for me, that was pretty cool. I mean, we've seen Sith script before in Rebels, and we've seen it in Rise of Skywalker and the Ancient Jedi texts. A lot of them, you know, even some Jedi script in Ancient Jedi text. But I mean, Sith script we've seen in that in Rise of Skywalker as well with the scrolls, Ancient Sith scrolls. If you get the art of the Rise of Skywalker, you'll see them. But Jedi is kind of Ancient Jedi script is kind of more rare. So you see that he tries to go grab the child because soon after that he sees a ship land. Now most people who are not familiar, just casual viewers, may not recognize the ship, but us who are fans recognize that it's Slave One and it is pretty beat up. because he's been around for so long. Probably older than the Razor Crest, give or take. So Slave 1 gets around, so we know Boba Fett's coming, so now that's pretty cool. Boba Fett's comes, same garb, still with an aura of badassery that Tamara Morrison brings. So he's not alone. Tells the Mandalorian like he wants his armor back, and he's like that's Mandalorian armor. That Beskar was taken from us. It belongs to the Mandalorians. Are you a Mandalorian? He goes, no. Our armor was my father's, and now it's mine, and I want the armor back. And he's like, Mandalorian said, why should I drop it where you stand? Well, it's because Fennec, you guys remember, who was dropped in that season 1 on Tatooine, played by forgot the Asian actress's name, but she's fantastic. She played Mayday in Agents of Shield. She's probably her chemistry between her and I think the main actor who played Coulson is Greg is what makes that show. Like will they, won't they? But she's awesome, kick-ass character, and like she wanted to be in Star Wars. Is the only thing she didn't do, and she's a kick-ass character in that too. It's Fennec, the sharpshooter. You remember from that episode that Filoni directed when they were at Tatooine? So it had been reported before. I think John Campbell said that it was Boba Fett. A couple other people said it was Boba Fett because Boba Fett was supposed to appear in season 1. It turns out it was Boba Fett. He saves Fennec's life, and she's a sharpshooter. You know, they all put their weapons down. Mandalorian puts his jetpack down, and they talk, and he said, look, you give me my armor back, I'm going to ensure the safety of the child. So they didn't, they're trying to negotiate, but they don't get much long because another ship comes, a drop ship, with a complement of stormtroopers, and they start coming out. So Fennec, he's like, we're going to buy you some time to go get the child. Mandalorian tries to go get the child, and in trying to reach into the force field, he gets pushed back this time and knocked out temporarily for a while. And so what ends up happening is that so Fennec is shooting them. They and they start to get the advantage. Boba Fett starts beating up a bunch of troops, and they think they knocked mostly all of them out, or taken all of them out with his. I think he had one blaster, but he also had a gaffy stick, and so then as soon as that happens, as soon as you think they're all done, another dropship comes, and Boba Fett sees an opening, so he goes for the Razor Crest. The Razor Crest, and he takes all his armor out, and then all of a sudden he gets dressed, and we get to see after Mandalorian wakes up and tries to help Fennec, because Fennec is now getting overrun, and they're fighting him off. But then, because the second dropship, more people coming out, he gets overwhelmed, and all of a sudden Boba Fett comes to Rex shop. So eventually, the two dropships, they all try to run away and evacuate because they're no match. They realize they're no match, and what they do is they'll moose, but they don't escape. So what ends up happening is that you have Boba Fett launch that missile from his rocket pack and somehow gets them both. Then all of a sudden, you think you breathe a sigh of relief. Well, here's the first tragedy of this episode labeled The Tragedy. The Razor Crest gets blown up by Moff Gideon's ship in the sky, blown to smithereens. Second tragedy, after Grogu has finished meditating and trying to contact these little tires, full field that was blocking everything else goes down. He's now like laying on top of the rock, kind of exhausted, using his energies. Believe he was asleep at the moment. Yep. And now Moff Gideon launches, and he said it, the Dark Troopers. So these are Dark Troopers. Now, if you go on Wikipedia, you'll see that this is a Dark Trooper Phase 2. I don't think they put it up yet, but they're pretty quick about it because the K-2S droids were Phase 1 of the Dark Trooper program. So this is Phase 2. I said it because they actually looked like Phase 2, and they do look like it. So these were the Phase 2 Dark Troopers, and they capture Grogu, and they're leaving, returning back to Moff Gideon's ship, and you have Boba Fett in Slave One giving chase, but he's called back, not called back. He's told to, he has a lock on him, and he's told not to fire because he might harm the child, might harm Grogu. So he says he's going to follow him up, and then as soon as he gets in that, like above atmosphere, slightly above atmosphere, he sees what almost looks like it's a cruiser. It's not a Star Destroyer, but it's in that shape. He says they're back. It says Boba Fett says the Empire. Now I saw something that says that this might be Moff Gideon, Grand Moff Thrawn's Empire of the Hand. I mean, it's something that I said before, and I said this in chat. Like, people have this idea stuck in their head. Well, Legends had this story, they can't fit this story. I'm like, no, but they can adapt it. Having Grand Admiral Thrawn return without the Mandalorian, here's the thing. People complain that Thrawn being involved with the Empire before. And this is what they never thought to themselves, right? In Legends, we never heard of Thrawn until Thrawn, the Timothy Zahn books, right? That's when Thrawn was introduced, but he was already a Grand Moff. So he had to be part of the Empire's military prior to being in Timothy Zahn's book as a Grand Moff already, right? So we got that story of him coming up in the Empire. We're also getting a Zahn prequel trilogy of him in the Chiss ascendancy. Now we might be getting a Thrawn, post Empire, post the downfall of the Imperial with the Imperial remnants, or what happens with Grand Admiral Thrawn. We don't know. We know due to the Aftermath books that Ray Sloane ends up being the victor and taking the fleet into the unknown regions, what was left of the Imperial remnants, and eventually finding Snoke and eventually turning into the First Order, right? We know that part, but there's time in between. There's time before the Battle of Jakku, and this is what's sorting everything out. Another thing we learn is that when he comes back down, Boba Fett shows him that his armor has his history in there. So just like Din Djarin, we find out that Jango Fett's father was a foundling. Now, what they did is they took an actual story from comic books when we were told that Jango Fett was a Mandalorian because he wasn't born into a clan, but they are Mandalorian by creed. He was a foundling as well, Jango Fett. Now we also find out that Jango Fett fought in the Mandalorian Wars, which kind of makes you think, though. There's no way he could have fought the Mandalorian Wars unless he was super old by the time of the Clone Wars. We have to now get a new. Well, he said the Mandalorian Civil War, not necessarily the Mandalorian Wars. I believe he said the Mandalorian Civil War, so that might be different. Mandalorian Wars is like when Revan was there, and that was a Mandalorian versus Jedi Crusaders. But it's interesting. We get that bit of canon now. So Jango and Boba are Mandalorians because Jango is a foundling. His armor was given to him by Mandalorians, which was Legends till recently. After that, they get in, since Razor Crest is no more, they get in Slave One and they go to Navarro, find Cara Dune, and he asks about Mayfield. So I'm thinking next week's episode is going to be like a heist episode. You're going to go spring Mayfield, and they're going to get a whole crew together, and they're going to go try to take back the child. I think every single badass that we've had in every single series is going to be like an Avengers Assemble moment, which is going to be pretty epic. So I'm hoping the next two, one of them is going to be like at least almost an hour. I'd say 45 minutes at the very least. It's going to be one of the next two episodes, maybe even both, part one and part two. They did that last time. Go upon Moff Gideon's ship, right? And we see him just marching with stormtroopers. He has this kind of like presence like Vader, but he's also very insidious, almost like Darth Sidious. He goes to the holding cell and he sees something that delights him. He sees Grogu just manhandling these stormtroopers using the Force, and he's now completely a lot more powerful. And he's Force choking one stormtrooper, and then Force choking the other one. Both of them are just taking them and he smacks them together, knocks them out. Then he gets very tired after using the Force. It must be part of Yoda's species. Like using the Force really has a huge energy requirement in their body. Like it's kind of the way Yoda was. Yoda, you would see him in the prequels jumping up and down, but then he'd get like so old and he had to walk with a cane, and it was use the Force to augment his ability. Maybe we'll learn that about their species. Then Moff Gideon ignites Darksaber right in front of him. Did you see one of these before? He's like, "Oh, you're not ready to play with that." He's like, But it looks like you use long sleeve, so he commands one of the stormtroopers to hit stun, and they put some cuffs on him to keep him docile. And they tell him to call the doctor from the first season, the Doctor Pasha Pershing, and let him know that he has a donor. Now, again, I think it's safe to say that this is probably an iteration of one experiment trying to create, either get close to creating Snoke or close to creating a clone for Palpatine. This is all connected, I believe. Now that we got our Dark Troopers and we know that it's not for the Dark Troopers necessarily, this is what I believe is going to happen. Well, and then it ends. We got lore, we got new stuff from Legends becoming canon. I, for one, the Dark Troopers are like Tony Stark suits in Iron Man when he would launch them. They're pretty impressive looking and powerful. They just got in and did the job. We got Grogu becoming more powerful in the Force. I mean, no joke. He's a lot more. He does a lot more with the Force than we've seen him. I mean, this kid's going to become something. So why is he in the sequel trilogy? We don't know. We could find out, right? I mean, he's Force choking people right now. So who knows? Maybe he was going down the dark path. But Razor Crest also is destroyed. It's like, dude, that was the shit, man. That was the Millennium Falcon of this series. And it's no more. What do you guys think? Tell me what you guys think in the space below. I've got to get some sleep. I haven't slept yet since yesterday. I laid down for a couple minutes making this video. Ugh. Anyway, may the Force your will further your destiny, always.